Hello, welcome back to Vinyl Show and Tell. Thank you very much for tuning in. Hope everyone's doing okay. So, weekend just gone. I had a quiet weekend in, so we all know what that means. Plenty of record spinning, and as usual, I just wanted to show you a few of the things that I've been listening to. So, yeah, let's crack on. We all know what the drill is here. Let's do this. So, in no specific order. First up, we have got Yo La Tengo with the brilliantly titled "And Then Nothing Turned Itself Inside Out." Don't really know where to start with this band. Difficult one to categorise. They've been going since the 80s and they're still going today, I believe, with the same lineup. I don't think they've ever stopped. Very large back catalogue. They never, well, in my view, they never seem to actually get talked about. I don't think I've ever seen them shown here on the VC. Correct me if I'm wrong. And I don't hear much about them at all, to be honest with you, considering they've done so much. They seem to be still very, very underground. Musically overall, they are very, very difficult to pigeonhole. They kind of go from kind of post-punk, shoegaze, bit of indie pop, influences by sort of Lou Reed and the Velvet Underground, heavy psychedelia, all sorts of things. This particular album from 2000 is actually quite mellow. It's one of them. It's definitely one of their more mellow albums. It's a double vinyl, lovely in a gatefold sleeve, and a great album. I only discovered these in the last few years, to be honest with you. I was in one of my regular record shops and they just happened to be playing some. So I inquired who it was, and kind of the rest is history. I started collecting them. I couldn't really tell you a perfect album to start with. I haven't actually got them all. I've only got about 5 or 6. But yeah, they're definitely worth checking out. Yo La Tengo. Definitely. If you like them, then you've got a good, a very large back catalogue to collect there. Definitely. On a similar note, we've got another band who has been going for years, released loads, but not enough people know about them. They're called Motorpsycho. This particular album is called Heavy Metal Fruit. I have mentioned this band on an earlier video. I think I talked about them briefly on my video about coloured vinyl. I was showing one of their albums off. Again, they've been going for many years. This is since the 90s, and they've at points they've been releasing an album per year. I think they must have at least 25 records out now in their back catalogue. Yet again, no one seems to really sort of know. Well, not a lot of people seem to know about them or talk about them. They've remained very, very obscure. So anyway, Scandinavian group, hard to categorise, a bit like the last ones. They started off very much in the kind of heavy psychedelic vein, reminded me sometimes in a way of Hawkwind in some ways. Later on in the years, they went a bit more commercial sounding, more of a very, very sort of sophisticated indie pop sound, and then they went back to a real heavy sound, and they certainly have with this. It does, it definitely does what it says on the tin, Heavy Metal Fruit. This is a lovely album. It's a triple gatefold, nice embossed foil sleeve. Nice inners. There we are. Let's try and show you the whole thing. That's what we're here to do after all. This is a double record, but only 3 sides have music on. The first side just has some etchings, and then the rest of it is obviously playable. So it's about an hour long in length. Absolutely fantastic, this record. Absolutely brilliant. I haven't played it for a while, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It has a sort of space rock, heavy prog feel, which is obviously a good thing, as you know. Nice lengthy tracks. Once again, if you are going to check out Motorpsycho, I don't really know where to recommend to start, because they've done so much. I would recommend trying them though. Get an album or 2. If you like what you hear, then you can delve into more. So this one is called Heavy Metal Fruit. In all honesty, I don't know if this is still on catalogue. I bought it quite some time ago. It might be a deleted title, but it is. Nonetheless, it is very, very nice. Really enjoyed playing that one. That was great. So next up, this is fantastic. I love this one. This one is by Colin Newman, and it's called Not To. It's a UK original pressing. It's one of those lovely ones on the 4AD label. So for those of you in the know or not in the know, Colin Newman was the one of the lead vocalists and guitarists in Wire. I say was, when this album was released in 1982, Wire were on a bit of a hiatus. They did 3 very critically acclaimed albums in the late 70s. They are complete cult classics now. I'm sure you know, anyone who likes post-punk will like Wire. But Colin Newman and a couple of the other members did other side projects, and he did a few solo records, and this is the 3rd one from 1982. When Wire did reconvene in the mid-80s, they sounded like a completely different band, and they kind of completely turned their backs on the earlier albums for whatever reason, which is a bit of a shame. They continue to do that today when they're on tour. This particular record, if you don't know it, it's a post-punk classic. It's just great. It's fantastic songs, real kind of, you know, typical post-punk metallic kind of jagged, edgy sounding stuff. It does sound a lot like what Wire probably would have sounded like if had they have continued and not gone on their little break for a few years. It you know, a few of the members from Wire actually play on this record, and all of the members at points are actually credited in the writing. So it does make me wonder if these are sort of, you know, leftover Wire tracks that Colin Newman actually recorded. But nevertheless, I mean, if you like Wire and you haven't got this is absolutely essential listening. I mean, it is brilliant. It is absolutely superb. Even if you're not into Wire yet and you like post-punk, then this is definitely one to get. So, Not To by Colin Newman. Very, very good indeed. So, next up, we have The Cure with The Top. I absolutely love this cover. It's an original UK press with Inner. I don't need to say too much about The Cure, I don't think, do I? Most of you will know who they are and what they're all about. What I find interesting about The Cure is that they really have kind of, you know, a two kind of parter to them. On the one hand, you have the kind of typical doom-laden goth stuff that people are probably very familiar with, but on the other hand, they used to produce these kind of quirky kind of pop tunes. Some of their later albums, like Head on the Door, the one that followed this, really is kind of upbeat. It's a real upbeat kind of, you know, pop album. This one seems to be a bit of a transition, if I'm honest with you. What I like about it is probably them at their most varied. It's almost you could kind of start with this one if you'd never checked The Cure out. It actually is quite a good representation of everything they do across the board. But at the same time, I don't think it's really one that's talked about enough. It's probably quite underrated, to be honest with you, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great album. So yeah, The Top from 1984. I do believe Robert Smith was still a member of the Susie's Banshees when he was doing this, so he was a busy boy at the time. Okay, on to the early 70s stuff, which I'm sure you've been wondering where it is. Okay, so from 1972, yes, 1972, we have got self-titled album by Glencoe. This one is released, UK pressing, released on Epic Records. So this one, yeah, quite commercial sounding. It's not really quite what I'd call a prog rock record. It's got kind of proggish elements in it, but it's got, I would say, sort of quite a rural feel, like a good west, you know, good sort of West Country sound. The cover pretty much sums it up, really. Yeah, quite obscure, not really that well known, and not that easy to find. It's notable for including some future Blockhead members. You've got John Turnbull on guitar there, Norman Watt Roy on the bass, and although he doesn't play on the album, Mickey Gallagher, the keyboard player from the Blockheads, and indeed later on the sideman with the Clash, he's credited on 1 or 2 tracks on this one. I can assure you this record sounds nothing like the Blockheads at all. There is no, it's surprising what they went to become in a few years after this, because it really, yeah, it's about as un-Blockheads as you can imagine. But yeah, a very pleasant record nonetheless. If I hold this one up in the plastic sleeve, those of you who live on the south coast in the Hampshire area will probably recognise that price. that format of price sticker there. That's from Clive's stalling when he normally comes to Southampton. But if you have a look, he started the record at £30, reduced it to 20, and then he's whacked on the half price sticker. So mine for £10, and it's a lovely copy. So yeah, that was a no-brainer when I bought that. Very good find and highly recommended as usual. Next up, we have got another. This one is a bit more proggy. This is Home, The Alchemist. That sticker there, it's only a post-it note, it does come off. I think the shop, they basically made their own hype sticker saying it was a first pressing, what have you. So there it is, original on CBS Records. Beautiful copy, this one. It's only cost me £8. Absolutely, it's clean as a whistle, this sleeve. And the record is fine as well. It's original with the orange labels, UK press. So Home started out as not dissimilar to Glencoe, I've just shown you. They had a kind of rural sound, quite commercial, very typical of the early 70s. But by this time, on their third album, they went out and did a concept record, the dreaded concept album. Although the actual premise of the record isn't too out there, it's not too complicated. It's certainly not Tales from Topographic Oceans or anything like that. And I really enjoyed playing this one. I haven't given this one enough attention. I had a VG copy for years and I never played it that much. So when I upgraded it, I gave it a lot more attention because, simply sounded better. But, what can I say? It's a good song cycle, heavy riffing, twin lead guitars, great tracks. It's good. If you like your early 70s prog rock, it's kind of essential and it's not terribly expensive. £8 is what I paid. I think I probably paid under the odds, to be honest with you. That was a lucky find. It's probably usually more about 10 to 15, but nonetheless, not very expensive and definitely one to look out for. Finally, we have this one. This is great. Again, a band not talked about enough. From the United States, Glass Harp with Synergy. Now, Glass Harp were a three-piece. They were a power trio. Guitar, bass and drums, all three of them sung. Lovely vocal harmonies. Now, they actually go under the category of Christian rock. Although, I mean, regardless of what you think about that, I'm not going to preach about religion here. I'm not a religious person, but I'm not going to start sort of dishing any religions. That's not what the channel's all about. But despite the fact that they are technically a Christian rock band, they're not over the top in kind of preaching preachy in the lyrics or anything like that. It doesn't sound like anything more any band from the early 70s might have sung about, really. You kind of might not guess they're a Christian rock band if you just shoved them on and listened to them. The guitarist is Phil Keaggy, and his guitar work is absolutely exquisite. He is a heavy psychedelic guitarist. Just the work he does is absolutely shimmering. It's like a cross between sort of Dave Gilmour and Steve Howe. He's technically brilliant, absolutely fantastic. This is their second record. It's a bit folkier than the first one. I actually prefer their first self-titled debut. I just find it a lot better. But this is still very, very good. It takes a bit more of a folky edge. But if you're a fan of early 70s rock, this is absolutely essential. Got a beautiful gatefold sleeve, that. Some kind of open air festival. Nice matte cover. This is a US first pressing. And as you know, I'm a sucker for label design, and I have to say I do like those original rainbow Decca labels. I know these are very, very common. Anything, loads of Decca pressings in America in the early 70s, but I haven't actually got many of these. I really like that. So I can't recommend Glass Harp enough. Again, they're not really that talked about. They just don't get the attention they deserve. I've never really met anyone who listens to them at all. If you do listen to them, please let me know in the comments. I would be very interested to hear your opinions, or indeed if you decide to go and pick any up, let me know what you think. So that's all from me. just a simple one today, just showing off what I'm playing. So as usual, please let me know what you think in the comments. Always like to hear from you. If you make a comment or want to have a chat, I'll always try and reply to you. Yeah, always great to hear what your opinions are on these things, or whether whether you check them out, you stream anything I've recommended and like it. Yeah, please keep in contact. I will be back in the next few weeks. I'm hoping to go out and about shopping, all going well. So as long as I'm successful with that, I'll be back in a few weeks with a few finds videos. So in the meantime, thank you for tuning in and take care. See you later.